So yeah, today I'm down just under 10K. Uh, the biggest loss today was SNDL. Now I did not lose on this offering. I lost in the morning. So let's just zoom in a little bit here. So in the morning it had just it had held support around 7.4, 7.3s. I had spiked, pulled back, um, and it went up again. So the next target I was thinking of was 80 cents. And once it's over 80, it has room towards $1. So I had bought on the dips right here around 7.7, 7.6, and it did go up. It did go up, and well, it kind of looked ugly. The table's looking a little bit weak over here, and I should have cut my losses right there. I should have cut my losses here around 7.6, but I didn't. I just stuck with it. I'm like, okay, maybe 7.5s will hold. Maybe I should. I think I added more here at around 7.5, 7.6, and that didn't work out. It broke on the 7.5, and it continued to break. It broke low a day, which was that's just under, like just around 7.4, and well, yeah, it broke on the 7.4, and I think I stopped out right here on this bounce. I think right here, and that was almost 7K loss right there. So I was already red for the day on just that single trade, and I kind of came back up, kind of like dug myself out a little bit, up to minus 3K. But honestly, I kept taking these unnecessary trades, over trading a little bit. Now, I almost, what could have got me out of green was there's this one play called Pola. So this one was a pretty big mover in the morning, and it had pulled back, consolidated a little bit around 12s, in the mid 12s. And I was thinking about getting in here, around $13. I'm like, okay, what's my next target? Okay, 14, and then 15 potential. And it did exactly that, but I did not play it because I don't have a good history playing stocks over $10. So that's why I didn't play it. I was hesitant, and I was afraid that since I don't have much history, I might just further increase my loss. In this case, it worked out, so I had to, just watch it go. So this one was a missed opportunity. Other than that, I was just looking for potential swings. Um, VISL. This is a swing play, so I'm swinging this from 195. Um, and I think it'll be big tomorrow. If you guys look at the daily chart right here, it's reaching towards that 200 EMA, which is around 225. So around 225 level, so 225s. Once it gets over 225, this thing has pretty good potential to see. I mean, for a breakout like this, it should see $3. And if things get really crazy, this thing could see 4 intraday and potentially 5. The last time it had gapped up was back in June of 2020. This thing had gapped and ran like a few more dollars, which is just insane. So I'm hoping the same for next week when Joe Biden gets elected, or for transfer for presidency. So I feel like what with the current situation in the past, things were just going crazy. People somehow got into the Capitol, and unfortunately, just chaos. So VISL is one of the names that has ran in the past, um, with surveillance. In the past, if you guys see, this was a former runner. I'm pretty sure it did some reverse splits because no way this thing was 40 or $60,000. If you guys see this daily chart, there's no way this stock was that price. So there probably was some of the reverse splits at the time, but I could definitely tell you guys that this was a former runner. So I think soon this thing will run. The volume has just been, pretty consistent. Like it pops, drops, pops, drops. And in this case, I think it's definitely getting that, that time when next week this sector will start to boom. Another name was SPCB. This is another name, but this one's a little bit heavier, I think, in my opinion. And daily chart isn't as good as VISL. If you guys see on the daily chart right here, it's kind of like a lot of mess right here. Like here, resistance at 150, resistance at 2, then another at 3. There's a lot of chop, up there. But with VISL, why I chose VISL over SPCB is, sorry guys, I just ate a lot, so I just getting hiccups. Um, but with VISL, I love that it's approaching the 200 EMA, and once it gets over that level, I mean, it has room towards the next resistance. Is technically, I would say, if you look in the past right here, it started pulling back at around $4. So, and it was consolidating from $3 to $4. So, I think the next resistance levels is from 3 to 4. So it has potential to get up there. And once it gets over 4, then 5 and up towards 9, which I'm not saying it will go to 8 or 9. That's kind of insane. I'm just looking at the next breakout levels or the next resistance levels, which is from 3 to 4. And some people are asking me, where, how do I know where to sell? And the question is, well, first I look at the daily, and important. I want to look for important levels of consolidation on the daily. So, like I said, back in before this pullback on the daily, this fade from 4 to all the way back towards 1, it was consolidating for a good 2 months from $3 to $4, and basically when you see that, that's going to be the next resistance levels. That's where people were going to be looking to sell, and a good target to where the stock might go, um, or you can know its limits a little bit. So in the stock market, you got to know where the buyers are at and where the sellers are at. In this case, the buyers are going to be around $2, under 225, and they're going to be selling at around $3 to $4 if it gets up there. Definitely, it's going to have some resistance. The sellers will be up in that level, and all of the scalpers and short-term traders are going to be trading this thing, from 225 to $3. So they know it could go to 3, but resistance is at 3 up until 4, based on this daily chart. So that's how you guys can find, where the sellers are at, just from looking at the daily chart, knowing where the consolidation is at, and where the first levels of breaking out is at too. So in this case, around 220s. Let's see. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I kind of been traded poorly this week. Last week it was pretty good. Last week was still pretty. I mean, it was a good week. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good week. I just couldn't. I could have done much better. And this week, well, it was pretty. It's a pretty boring week, I would say. Um, Other than that, that's pretty much it. Last week I made 140 grand. This week, probably 25K or 30K, and that's about it. Pretty bad. But I'm not gonna complain. I have a great week. I just have to keep looking forward to the next week and just refocus. Don't. I'm not gonna really pound myself and just keep blaming myself for my poor performance it's just gonna make things worse and it won't do anything. All I can do is just learn from this week and continue to do the next week. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please, comment in the trading floor. If you guys want me to go over anything or talk about anything, just let me know. That would be great, so other people can know, or if they're curious about a certain uh, stock or how or this or why, that would be good. And I'm gonna make my analysis right now. So today the top runner was Pola today. This was a pretty big runner. Even though this is above $10, I technically don't do recaps on these over $10 moves or $10 stocks. But this was in an electric or EV sector. I'm not sure if it had news. Let me check. Oops, no, that's Pixie. Oops, not Pixie. Pola. Yeah, and I want to know how you guys, how your week was, guys. Comment down about your week. How much you made or how much you lost, what you traded, your ideas for next week. Uh, so I would like to know. Let's see. So Pola. Okay. So yeah. Apparently this Pola doesn't really have any news. I'm not sure why. Kind of closed pretty weak too. Where is the recap chat? Okay. So see, are you swinging VISL or going to play it intraday? I'm currently swinging VISL right now. Um, what did you study when you were starting out? You read all the books, watched about every single video multiple times, the charts. So how do you study them? Yeah, so that's basically to answer your questions. Um, I technically did kind of stare at them. When you're doing stocks, just like a video game, you want screen time. The more you play, the better you get. The more comfortable you get. You get comfortable to the mouse. You get comfortable to the map. You know, um, and that's kind of how it is to stocks when you're trading. You're seeing price movement. You're seeing a bunch of stocks or sectors going, and you just kind of and you start to get used to it. You want as much screen time as possible. So basically, staring at the screen, not just staring at one place, but you have to know, where everything's going. Why, this stock's gonna, break this stock or break this level, or why is it moving? Um, when if you compare it to like a video game, you kind of suck at the beginning, right? You don't know what everything is. You don't know where maybe key hiding spots or what are the best guns, best strategies. Um, the stock market is kind of like that. So uh, how I study charts was probably just learning from uh, videos, and just like a video game, you watch streamers and you kind of see, oh, I see now why they did that. I kind of see why they play so well now because this and that. Um, so kind of like the stocks, just same thing. You watch videos, continue to watch videos, study, and know where the runners are at. Where is everyone playing? You know. And next week, I think the security sector is going to be big. So that's my guess. That's why I'm swinging VISL. Um, and see, what did you study? I just basically simply went on YouTube and just continue to watch videos. And also, of course, screen time. Just staying on my computer, my setup, as long as possible. You know, I, slow. I started to say, oh, why is the afternoon slow? Why is the afternoon usually slow from 12 to 1 o'clock? And I kind of noticed, oh, well, people are leaving lunch. There's less traders. less eyes, less money being traded at this time, and that I kind of like just noticed that over time. So and started recognizing, oh well, the most volatile times are in the mornings because everyone's on that time, right? So it all makes sense. The more you trade, the more you get used to it. And yeah, it was a very boring week. Yeah, CNET. I thought CNET could have gone too, due to I think there was one China name that was going. Y10, I think. Let's see. No, it's not Y10. Is it? I'm not sure. Pretty sure YTN is someone's related to CHNR. This after this move. Um, but yeah, I had a feeling CNET would have gone too, but in this case, today just kind of. Actually, no, this was yesterday. Actually, yeah, I think it was some China movie yesterday. I forgot. I forgot there was another big China name that was running. I think it's SOS or something. I think SOS. SOS was one of them, but SOS kind of failed. But there was one China that just continued to go higher. Yeah, I kind of knew why you played it. In this case, it was opening at around $3, which which is honestly pretty high. Compared, at the bottom of this day, if you look at the daily, right here, it closed at around 237. But when it gapped up, it already had a pretty decent gap, and it was gapping into resistance, which is this. If you look right here, this big green candle, it had closed at 310. So 310 over just in a 310 area, $3 is going to be resistance. It's going to be pretty heavy, and the fact that they already gapped up almost 70 cents is pretty overextended. And you're basically kind of buying right at resistance and kind of it's going for like a 50-50 trade. If it doesn't break three, it's gonna go back down to 250s. If it goes to break over three or 310s, it has potential to go to 350s. But notice that you're buying into this large green candle right here. It has traded 200 million volume. So just you can easily say, oh well, there is going to be a bunch of probably bag holders at around 3 to 350. So it's already heavy at that level. So that's one thing, when the stock's gapping up pretty big, it's pretty it's going to be hard because you're buying in the middle of, well, into resistance. So in this case, that's why it kind of failed. And I think at this time Bitcoin was kind of, well, it was kind of reversing back, but it wasn't making new highs. And I also tried NXTD too, but I kind of messed up on that too. So yeah, in this case, it already, well, also I don't know if you knew, but if you look at the daily, I mean, past right here, $3, also resistance kind of. Uh, Now if this thing was probably at like maybe 260s, maybe it would have been okay, and risk 250s and sell into three. That would be perfect actually. But in this case, it gapped to $3. But yeah, I kind of see why you played it. I mean, it's Bitcoin. That time, Bitcoin is recovering pretty big, had a massive recovery. Plus, it's Bitcoin related. Um, so But I like how Joe has a list of criteria and all of the description why he played it. It's a China name, use catalyst as catalyst, reversal play. Well, the reversal play kind of reversed. It gapped to three, which is I think enough. It was kind of overextended on the reversal play, but if he swung from like two thirties, that would be perfect. Uh, Holding up nicely pre-market. Yeah, had a nice pre-market and Bitcoin, of course. Thinking about focus stocks near $1 because they're moving. Well, currently I'm not sure about that right now. At the moment, and I think it's with UVXI with the SPY and inauguration coming soon next week. I feel like those $1 plays won't be as key, but I think if there's like a securities play that is under a dollar, that would be nice. So BISL. Okay. So yeah, do you guys have any more questions? Yeah, basically I'm just swinging BISL. Took pretty good loss on SDL. Got crushed. And I didn't sell early. I was very highly convicted in my trade on SNDL because Louis saying, he thinks pennies is strong, and I thought the same too. I thought SNDL today would hold at around 76, 77 and break over 80 and potentially go to $1. That's what I hooped for. And I took a similar trade a couple days ago on XELA. It was perfect. I was buying the dips at 77, 76, just under 80 cents. And once it broke over 80, it went straight to $1. And I think it went higher to 115. I was thinking the same thing on SNDL. In this case, it didn't work out. And, well, I had to take the loss on it. A pretty bad loss when I could have stopped out earlier. So sometimes you guys we get too confident, and well, we were just kind of I was like, oh, okay, well, now it's breaking down 7.5. Okay, 7.5 should hold. Oh no, now 7.4, now 7.4 should hold. At that point, I should have cut my loss when it broke 7.5 or maybe 7.6. But I kept making these you know uh I forgot what it's called, kind of just telling myself, oh, it's gonna work, it's gonna work, oh, it's gonna support here. It's not gonna, you're wrong at that point. I'm wrong, when it broke down, and I should have cut it. Yes, so I can explain about XCLA. So it wasn't today. I traded this. I think I talked about it last week. I think this was last week. I think. Um, well, Joe, your post from earlier, you're showing patterns of penny stocks that had this like U shape on the daily, and it really made sense. I was like, that's it looks like it's doing the same thing on XCLA. There's U and it comes right back up. It breaks out. So I was like, okay, if you look on XCLA, remember what I was talking about where to see where the buyers are at and where the sellers at? Well, now I'm looking where the buyers are at. Where do I think the buyers are? And look first, I look on the daily and look for consolidation levels. In this case, I look over here. For about 2 months, it was consolidating from around 50 cents to a high of 75 cents or almost 80 cents ish. 75, we can just keep it like that. And those highs were around 75 cents. So I'm like, okay, It looks like to be holding 75 cents well, so I guess buyers are, kind of locked in that 75 should hold, and they dip buying these levels. So that's why I started scaling in a little bit, and I was like, okay, just in case maybe it goes down, it'll maybe see 70 cents, but it was actually holding these levels 75 cents pretty good, or 77s. So I just scaled in a little bit, just in case. And then once it started holding more lows and supporting 75s, that's when I started to scale in a little bit more because I was like, this thing looks like, I mean, it looks like it's holding very well at these levels. So I'm like, okay, once this thing gets over 80, I mean, this thing is gonna go. So, and it did. And I was hoping the same thing on SNDL today, but in this case, it didn't. So, yeah, SNDL was kind of a bummer. Um, percent did I sell and put the loser start selling this price. So yeah, that's one of the tough things. You don't want to be greedy. Just sell into strength. And don't sell right away. Know where the target is. Know where the stock has potential to go to, so you can maximize your gains. Um, you don't want to sell for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cents. Usually about 10 over 10 cents would be just fine, or a gain of five. Well, I would say 10% gain is actually pretty good, and just keep doing that over and over again, and it'll just compound your account in no time. So the daily is very very important. You can tell where or how high the stock can go, has potential, and how low it can go. Where the buyers are at, where are the support levels, where the resistance is at. Uh, you kind of have like a guide of how high this, how much potential a stock can have just by looking at the daily. And in this case, on XELA, when I played this a couple days ago, once this thing, held 7.5, if you look at the daily, I mean, this thing, once it's over 80, I mean, it's over. Once it's over 85, this thing is going straight to 1. 75 support, and over that, this thing is clear. It's clear. And the same thing with VISL. I think it'll do the same thing. Once this thing is over 220s, this thing is pretty much clear to see $3 to $4. So I'm applying the same thing right here. And the reason why SNDL didn't really work was, well, I mean, I kind of, 80 cents was a very key resistance level. So I was like, okay, with weed going, with weed and with Joe being elected president next week, maybe it has a chance to see over 80 cents. But at the same time, this thing trades almost a billion shares of volume. So I think this is just way too heavy for me to really trade. It's just way, way too heavy. So yeah, that's why I didn't. I'm not gonna touch these NEM again. It's kind of gambling. A lot of people back, during the weed days, everyone was just like buying weed names and just holding it back, holding. It's crazy. So I don't want to do that no more. I already lost enough money on it. I'm not touching it again. I'm like, what happens? I don't care if weed gets legalized. If it doesn't get legalized, that's when I start playing. But at this moment, it's kind of like gambling, so just not gonna touch it. Yeah, on XELA, I was looking for 70 cents, 75-cent consolidation. I was looking, okay, I know this thing has support around 70 cents, but let's see what it does. So it pulls back, it taps 75 cents. I'm like, okay, let me go back to XELA. So at that time, at that day, you know, it had like, I guess there was some temporary support at around 777, because this double bottom right here, one here and one here, right? Double bottom, and I'm like, okay, let's see what it does. It pulls back and actually breaks 7.7, and it goes straight to 7.5, and then it kind of had a nice upper wick. So I knew buyers were here. I knew there were some buyers right here just from this, dip, and it came right back up. It closed on the 1 minute pretty well. Um, and also on the 5 minute, the 200 EMA, no, not the 200, the 50 EMA, which is this orange line right here, was also at 75 cents. So that kind of like gave me a strong, better reason why 75 should hold. Because if it breaks under 75, I mean, there's really nothing under. There's no like other EMA to really support it. So I'm like 75 should hold. So I let it consolidate a little bit. It went straight to 80 cents, but then came right back down. Uh, and it continued to hold. So I'm like, okay, soon once this thing, gets over VWAP, this thing has a very good chance of running. So, and it did. So it held almost 4 times on the 5 minute. 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes on the 5 minute chart. And I was like, okay, if it closes on this next 5 minute right here, if it closes pretty well, this upper wick, I mean this lower wick right here indicates that this is bullish sign. I'm pretty sure in the next 5 minute it should go. So so that's why I played it. I was just waiting and letting the 5 minute chart, you know, kind of form itself and give me a stronger reason to scale in more shares. Uh, yeah. Um, I just had, just looking at daily chart, I'm like, what, I have to take a stab at this. Looking at daily chart, it looks to be breaking out. I have to take a stab at this. Over 80 cents. I mean, this thing could definitely go over 85. This thing could definitely go. So, all right, guys. I'm gonna end it here. A small summary is I had a red day today. And let me guys show you my Robinhood actually, real quick. Not doing too good. So right here, I actually didn't trade at all this week on my Robinhood. Actually, no, I did trade this week on January 13th, and I took like a $23 or a $33 loss. But you're not gonna complain. No growth this week. But for the month, I'm still, for the first 2 weeks, I'm up about 12%. But definitely, I should start. I forgot to add swing on my Robinhood. I'm swinging on all of my other accounts, but not my Robinhood. So I'm not sure why. I would be up right now. But anyway, that's it. That's my Robinhood performance so far. And yeah, and I'll be looking into VISL tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow. Next week on Tuesday. Markets are closed on Monday for Martin Luther King Day. So, all right, guys. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys have a good week and a good night. All right.